So we're going to talk about what's the role of a superintendent in construction. First, I just want to be careful. To me, a superintendent is the person running a job. So if I'm a general contractor, I have a superintendent assigned to manage the job in the field. Now, if I'm a major plumbing contractor, I might have a superintendent over 4 foremen with 4 crews. So that would be a superintendent who manages foremen and crews. General contractor would be more about managing the one job. Now, it doesn't mean they can't be assigned 2 jobs at a time. So there's different names. You can call them supervisors, you can call them leads, you can call them senior supervisors. There's I don't care what you call them. Let's just talk about superintendents today. So we have 2 kinds. Those that run jobs and those that run multiple crews. So multiple crew supervisors, superintendents. And then we have 1 job at a time, or maybe you've got 3 jobs and they're watching all 3. That's still a superintendent or a supervisor. I'm just going to use supervisor because I can abbreviate it, SUPT, and it fits on my sheet really good, and also on their business card. In fact, years ago, I changed my job description to field team leader. I thought I was so cool because I was talking about leadership, but people go, what does he do? Okay, superintendent. All right, what's a superintendent? So the superintendent is 100% accountable and responsible to achieve the field construction goals and/or crew production goals and performance and results. So there's 2 different kinds, remember? So the direct line of communication for a supervisor, superintendent, they generally report to the project manager because the project manager is responsible for the whole job. Some companies have the supervisor, superintendent, report to a general superintendent over all the superintendents. That's okay, but the project manager gets left out of the loop talking to the supervisor, going over the budget with the supervisor, going over the schedule with the supervisor, because there's a third party in the middle who's not really in tune with the contract, the documents, the scope. They're just overseeing somebody. So it's kind of a mixed who works for who and who reports to who. So I like to have the general supervisor, superintendent, field operations director, manager, as I said earlier, be a coach or a mentor or sort of a consultant to the team. So they're the eyes and ears out in the field every day. They go by every job every day, and they make sure the superintendent has any questions, some issues, some challenges, and they're there to help. But the project manager is still accountable to get the job finished on time and on budget, delegating to their superintendent to watch the field. So the field's accountable for what? Schedule, quality, safety, and partially customer satisfaction. Now, obviously that includes punch list and safety and doing inspections and meeting inspectors and getting approved by the city and negotiating with subcontractors to show up on time, all those kinds of things. So first of all, I want the supervisor or superintendent to manage the project. They're directly responsible to manage the project from start to finish. And that means quality workmanship, safe, schedule, positive customer communication, make sure all field requirements are met. Trailer, power, temporary facilities, fencing, security guard, and the work is done right. It's per plans. Tests, inspection, and I really don't like it when I've got some clients, they have the supervisor call the office to schedule inspections. Come on! The foreman should call for his own inspection or the supervisor and meet the superintendent and make it happen. So what you're doing is you're letting a weak supervisor get paid like a real supervisor and not be accountable for everything it takes to get the job finished. So I want my supervisor to call for inspections, go to the city and get permits if they have to. Sit down with subcontractors and one-on-one and make sure they're going to show up on time and make sure the schedule's maintained and do a weekly look ahead, think ahead, 3-week schedule. I want that done by the foreman and the supervisor every week and turned into the project manager for review. All right? So we have to do a weekly schedule and an update and a safety punch list and a safety inspection. All right, so first thing they have to do is work closely with the project manager and general superintendent if you got one. But really the PM is accountable for the job performance. So they got to work tightly. They need to talk to that project manager a couple times a day. And not ask dumb questions, but just check in, tell them what's happening, and do all those kinds of things. And then if you have a crew, they got to work with the crew. They oversee the crew, they help them schedule the work, lay out the work, do all the important things they have to do. We have what's called general conditions. In construction, we have soft costs. That would be your cleanup, your fences, your toilets, all those kinds of things. We have to manage the soft costs, general conditions. So we want to make sure that we stand our budget on all those kinds of things. The superintendent has a big role in how many hours we spend on cleanup or miscellaneous labor. So they also are a little bit accountable for some of the money they control. Schedule, time, general conditions, how many toilets, how many power poles, all those kinds of things. That's part of the supervisor's role. They have to also keep track of the as-built. At the end of the job, we have to turn in as-built of how we built it. So if there's some differences, we have to do that. And they have to keep an updated set of plans and specs out on the job at all time. They should have a copy of all the subcontract scope of works out on the job so they can check it to see what they're supposed to have, subs and inclusions, exclusions, and all those kinds of things. They also need to enforce the standard company attire, safety equipment, PPE, protection gear. That's their job, and to make sure it's done properly. So every week they're going to meet on site with the project manager to walk the job and review all the things, the safety, the quality, the punch list, the inspection, the percent complete, the labor hour performance for your crews. So that's very important. And then we're going to have to oversee the schedule. So part of the problem with supervisors is sometimes they whine that they can't get maybe a subcontractor to show up. My rules are I want my superintendent to get the subcontractor out there a week early. Actually, I like them 3 weeks early and 1 week early. At 3 weeks early, walk the job, show them what we need. Have you ordered all your material? We're going to set you up over here for your laydown yard. We're going to make sure you got power cords and power poles way over here. You're going to have to bring it in. If you need a generator, don't forget it. Parking's way over here. So at least they understand the job. And then a week ahead, I want to make sure they're really going to come. So you know the old joke. The guy said he'd show up Monday. He just didn't tell me what week, So yeah, we'll be there Monday. I forgot to tell you it's next month, right? So that's not what we're trying to do. So we want to make sure that we can maintain the schedule by getting the people on site when we need them. So we have to do that, coordinate the inspections. We got to make sure we never do extra work without a written prior approval. It's just part of life in construction. We got to maintain the safety program. They're wearing the right gear. The trenches are protected. There's handrails where we need them, all those kinds of things. And then we got to make sure the quality is per the contract. We mentioned that, and do a weekly punch list and get it done. Why do I need my architect to tell me we need a punch list? That drives me crazy. And then we want to make sure we have respectful, proactive, relatively friendly communication with our customer on an ongoing, regular basis. Now, if the customer asks the superintendent, hey, can you move these walls for me? The answer is, yeah, put it in writing and I will give you a price. It's not, yeah, no problem, I'll take care of it. Because the superintendent has no contractual financial ability to spend money without approval of the project manager, money manager, project manager, right? Contract. They need to know the contract, the specs, the deadlines, the milestones. So they need to have had a session with the project manager to review the 10 things I need to know about this contract, right? And of course, we have to attend the meetings that are required by our company and by our customer, right? So, okay, there's lots of things the superintendent does. The foreman is a little different. They manage the crew differently, but it's basically the same concept. All right, so in conclusion, I want to thank you for listening today. I've got a complete workbook. Visit contractorjobdescriptions.com, click on it, and you can download. So I've got all the job descriptions. I've got the flow chart. I've got superintendent, project manager, foreman, job descriptions, checklists, all the things you need to really manage your project well. And just click on there, and when you do, you'll also get a chance to download my first chapter of my book, Turn Your Construction Business into a Profit-Making Machine, and you'll get a application if you want to subscribe to our newsletter. So anyway, thanks again. Hope you finish your project on time, on budget, no punch list, and the customer's super happy, and you get paid really fast. Thanks.